Hi there and welcome back to Japan and to our track-by-track listen through to Scandal's new album, Kiss from the Darkness. At least new at the time when we recorded this. Now, as you already know, I'm going to tell you anyway, this is part of a track-by-track listen through to the entire album, so if you haven't already, then get into the link in the description below to watch this as part of a playlist so we can talk about all of the songs together, and remember, we're going to discuss this a lot in the comments afterwards. Also, remember, I am just doing the reviews, not the reactions, because of the copyright surrounding this album, so if you haven't already, check out the song and the whole album you can do it on Spotify, loads of streaming services have it, but the song that I just listened to now, just got finished with for the first time, was Kinenbi. Now, Kinenbi was an interesting song actually. I must admit, I really did like the feel of it. I liked what they were going for. It kind of had like a bit of a swingy, almost Christmassy vibe with the funny little bell sounds. I think it was almost like a xylophone being played or something in the background there, but it had like a really nice sort of bouncy feel to it. So as a result, it was kind of incredibly likable, and, you know, the whole feel of the song was very well built up. It felt thick, it felt like there was a good arrangement underneath it. Everything was quite substantial in it. You know, didn't feel thin, like I think sometimes people had maybe said about some of the songs earlier on this album. I know there had been some criticisms of some of the singles for sounding a little bit too thin and a bit too poppy. I've got no problem with that myself, but I think if you were looking for something a bit more rocky, then this ironically has that more sort of built-up rocky sound. You know, the guitars sound a little bit more chunky in this, whilst at the same time being kind of a bit of a jolly, happy song. So, yeah, Kinenbi for me worked on that level. Maybe the things that didn't work for me so much in this one is partly the fact that I would say it was very catchy, but the chorus line, the melody was quite generic. I mean, like I say, it sounded a bit Christmassy, and I think that's because that da 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 da, that particular vocal line has probably been used in about 9 or 10,000 Christmas songs. It's not the most original melody to have for the chorus. So the chorus was very catchy, but catchy in a slightly generic way, which was probably the only thing working against it, is that this song, although it sounded well executed, did not necessarily have the tons of identity that you'd want it to have, which is probably what would keep this from being a single. Because like I say, catchy, just without a huge amount of identity. I mean, ironically, that's what I was saying to a degree about Ceramic Blue, the track before this that I really liked, and also some of the singles that I know maybe haven't hit so well with other people, like the one that I really like, and I always forget the entire name, Saisho Heiki Kimi? Yes. That song, whether you like it or not, has a lot of identity. I mean, you would hear that and you would be under no illusion about what you were listening to. Whereas with this one, I have before mentioned there have been some times when I felt like Scandal sound a little bit like they are getting maybe some influence from Puffy. And this one sounds like 100% like this could have been a Puffy song. It sounds like it could have been a song by quite a few other artists. I can imagine the Peggies delivering this song like this, but with their own sound. So, yeah, as an album track, it works really well because it is very good at what it is, but it doesn't have quite enough identity to be something that you would single out and say, I really want to listen to that song right now. I don't personally believe. Also, one of the things that I found was a little bit strange here, because the sound of the song was so good. There was one particular thing that I think might have been a production element. Now, there has been some criticism, which I think may be a little bit unfounded and unfair in a lot of cases, of the use of auto-tune on this album. Now, I'm not going to get into that whole discussion. We had a whole thing on our community tab. We had a whole poll about that as well, which, interesting, was not so anti-auto-tune as I think a lot of people would have expected. I'm not going to basically comment on whether auto-tune should or shouldn't be used. However, and again, what I'm about to say, I'm not sure 100% that they did this in this song, but there is an effect that you can do on auto-tune where you can sort of flatten the vibrato of a voice. Now, the vibrato is kind of, if you imagine, just for those of you who don't know, we try to cater to everyone. You sing in a set pitch. So you're singing in a pitch, you're in tune, but your voice is not just like a ooh. It has kind of little bits that make it sound interesting. You know, there are certain tones that shift in your voice as you hold one note. And that is the most layman's basic way that I can explain how what vibrato actually is. It is those tones that keep a set held note sounding interesting and not just like a dead phone tone. You know, so that was something that seemed a little bit like it had been toyed with in this song, because there were points when, well, pretty much any point, there wasn't many long-held notes, but virtually any point when Haruna was holding a note, it felt a bit dead for vibrato. Like there wasn't any vibrato in there. Like maybe in the studio they had overly cleaned up the voice and killed a little bit of the life out of it. But then again, the classic example I always give, sorry, I'm not dying, just got a bit of a snotty nose. The classic example I always give of when that was not done electronically and strangely became very popular was, I think it was Bill Withers, wasn't it? And the song was like, not Perfect Day or Lovely Day or something like that, but it was just that long line he does in the chorus. So, a lovely day. I almost can't do it with a dead enough voice, but just no vibrato, just this really, really dead tone that he held, which was kind of weird. So I'm not saying, it could well have just been that she was singing this in a slightly vibrato-free way, but it's interesting because her actual voice itself sounded so perfect with this song, like otherwise the tone of her voice, the style that she was singing it with, the sort of the pressure energy that she was giving to how she bounced off of the notes, the rhythm and everything sounded really good, but it seemed every time she held a note it sounded surprisingly dead. So I'm going to assume that was maybe a little bit of excessive toying in the production suite. My feeling on that. Like I say, that's an effect that's done through auto-tune. It's not actually, it's not, doesn't necessarily have to be part of pitch shifting. So, like I say, I'm not getting into the pitch shifting argument here. I'm just talking about the vibrato thing. So in regards to that, I would say, as I was kind of alluding to before, the song is definitely worth listening to. Definitely an enjoyable one. Don't expect to remember it particularly. Like I say, it's catchy, but catchy in a way that's probably just going to remind you of other songs that sound very similar. Don't expect it to be a quintessential Scandal song or anything like that. It's just a good album track that when it comes up, you're going to be like, oh yeah, this is a feel-good track. I enjoyed this one. This is a good little, positive thing to stick in the album now. I don't know what the next track's going to sound like, but assuming that it complements this in some degree, flows on well from it, then this is something where you think, oh, that adds a nice little twist to the album, gives it a good feel. So, yeah. As I say, Kinenbi, good track, good album track, relatively forgettable, nicely delivered, some slightly suspect things going on with vocals that I'm not 100% sure of, but otherwise, the overall tone of the song was otherwise very good. Nice instrumentals in it, just simple, punchy and effective stuff that will be forgotten until you hear it again next time you listen to the album all the way through. That's my feeling, at least. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we try to be honest about everything, but music is subjective to opinions. So get in the comments and tell us what you think as well. Did you like this? Did you not like it? What's your opinions about the vocals? Do you think the vocal vibrato was toyed with? If you listen to it carefully, tell me if you feel that way. I haven't analysed it on the computer or anything. I'm not going to go into that kind of detail, but I am really interested to see what you guys think from listening through to it. Tell me what you think of the song. Do you think the song had more identity than I'm giving it credit for? Did you like it? Did you think it stand out? Did you think it was a bit generic, or just all the things? Give me all of your opinions as always. Need some tissue. Don't touch your face. That's what the doctors say. Don't touch your face. Don't worry, it's not that. I'm not dying. But then again, we're not monetized, so I can say it's not coronavirus. I can say coronavirus on this channel. I don't have to worry about monetization. We don't have any. Talking of monetization, by the way, in the links in the description below, if you wanted to help us on the Patreon, much appreciated. Huge thank you to all our Patreon supporters who help pay for things like the posters, the lighting, the cameras, the microphones. I say this really regularly, but I can't say it enough. It massively helps. If you want to get involved in suggesting songs for us to listen to, there's also a link in the description below to our Reddit, where we have a suggestion thread, as well as getting on our Discord, where we're just all talking about Japanese music 24/7 anyway. And there's a lot of Scandal fans there, I promise. So for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Until I see you soon, hopefully on the next video. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.